It is all kicking off in Boris Johnson's constituency of Uxbridge and South Ruislip. Now, the man who ran against Teressa May as Lord Buckethead in 2017 lost the right to use the name Lord Buckethead because it's the name of a character from a film. So he has renamed himself Count Binface. Great thing, Count Binface launched his surreal manifesto last week in the style of Ceefax. The opening page looked like this.
Got my vote.
Now, I'm going to run you through some of the policies, see if these will get your vote. £1 trillion a week for the NHS. Piers Morgan to be zero emissions by 2030. Investment in 20,001 more police officers. And the hand dryer in the gents' toilet at the Crown and Treaty Uxbridge to be moved to a more sensible position.
Welcome to this special edition of Bite High No Limit, where we are joined by political extraterrestrial force of nature, Count Binface, who's also a champion of Ceefax. So without any further ado, let's get on with the show.
Just joshing with you. Go ahead.
Hello.
Lovely. I can see you and hear you loud and clear. What a lovely room you have there.
Well, thank you very much. No, it's nice. It's got all bits and bobs there. I'm learning to play the ukulele. I'll have to get the things around right and all that. I'm terrible at it.
I take it off the wall if you want to learn the ukulele. That's my tip.
Right, I'm going to write that down straight away. That's brilliant. Thank you very much. Excellent.
That's all right. That's from me. I mean, I'm not a local boy, but even I know that much.
Do you have ukuleles at Sigma 9?
Well, only the ones we bought as souvenirs on your planet, but that's quite enough. One is enough, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and my wife would attest to that as well.
Absolutely. You have a wife and a ukulele? Well, there you go. I mean, you really are going some.
There's not that the Venn diagram of that does look quite odd. Looks more like a figure of eight, I'd imagine.
Indeed.
That's brilliant. Well, look, thank you very much for joining me on my exceptionally tiny podcast, Your Excellency.
Is that what it's called? Because that sounds hilarious. That's a great name.
It does. Maybe I should rename it. Yes, no, it's Bite High No Limit. So it's I took it from I took it from a strapline of a magazine that we have here on planet Earth back in the early 80s called Your Spectrum, and it had Bite High No Limit as a little strapline on that, and I thought, well, I'll have that, and so I've set that up as the podcast. It's been going about a year now, so it's all going quite well. You know,
fantastic. And may I be the first to give a big old shout out to any Spectrum user, current or former. I mean, a fantastic technology. We're very jealous of it on Sigma 9, and we'd only hope that our games would load half as much as some of the Spectrum ones, which is saying something.
Oh, absolutely. You will be spoiled when that actually reaches the your galaxy in good time. It's certainly been an inspiration to many people down here on planet Earth. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Trust me, the Spectrum's fame is galaxy wide and beyond. You'd be surprised, especially a little game called Percy the Potty Pigeon. Don't know if you know that one. Little Spectrum game. Check it out, you and your listeners. That one reached Sigma 9, and we all have a lot of fun playing that one. Oh, yeah.
Excellent. Are you a Kempston man, or do you use the keyboard?
I love a Kempston. In fact, that's how we fly our starships. They are actually Kempston joystick compatible. There is a little exclusive for you right away for the Bite High No Limit. Yep. In the interstellar galaxy, across subspace and beyond, we use Kempston joysticks. There you go.
Oh, brilliant. That's it. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. And do you play Elite? Are you any good at Elite?
Well, I mean, that's basically my job.
Yes.
So, yes, if you know what I mean. I mean, I am the elite, and I think as we can establish on this podcast, and B, yes, flying around space, fulfilling missions and blowing things up with lasers. That's pretty much life. So, I am the real life elite simulator.
Indeed. Excellent. Well, thank you. I know that your time is precious today, Your Excellency. So I'm really pleased to have you on. And my first question really would be, apart from Sigma 9, is there any intelligent life out there in the universe?
No, I say that as a relative statement. If you were to ask a more pertinent question, is there more intelligent life than on Earth out there? Then the answer to that is yes. There's lots of it, because Earth is pretty much, I would say, in the below average regions. In the entire omniverse. But so there is stuff out there. But compared to me, no, I rule supreme. But you knew I'd say that because you're not stupid.
Well, I try not to be, but I always get things wrong in my podcast anyway. So I want to see where the first thing I get wrong in this one.
Well, you wouldn't be the first. I've listened to a few newsy podcasts, and they're all on your planet. They're all over the place.
Oh, absolutely. They want to talk about the same thing all the time, don't they? Which can be a bit of a challenge as well. So,
right, not enough Ceefax. I think that's the key point, as we're about to come on to.
I know, absolutely. So, I was going to say, how does one discover Ceefax being so far away on Sigma 9? How did you first come across the concept?
Well, some things, as I say, do travel across the omniverse. You're probably not unaware of the fact that radio signals have been being beamed from your planet ever since they started being broadcast. And, we as extraterrestrials, we send probes around, and we like to pick things up. And we've got some pretty nifty satellite dishes of our own. So we can pick stuff up. And of all the things that us Sigma 9ians have picked up, nothing has come close to the blocky, multicolored wonderment that is Ceefax. I mean, as if you need me to say this, all the rest of it, it's all much of a muchness. Yes, okay, some things are filmed, some things are animated, but blah, 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 blah. Who cares? Ceefax is of its own, and it's a wonderful Earth invention. And as you can tell, I'm very, very keen to bring it back, because I would point all my digits and every recyclon digit, and that is the reason why your news is gone completely up the spout, because you live in a Ceefax-free planet. You're mad. It was doing a great job. You replaced it with the internet, which is a complete travesty, and it all went wrong from there. But again, I'm not saying anything controversial here. I'm just saying the truth. Ceefax rules. The rest of it, a load of old crap.
That's brilliant. So would you say that the limitation of Ceefax just removes any conjecture? It just gets straight to the facts, so to speak?
Well, look, again, I'm going to take you up on your question here. Limitations? No. Just because something does a simple set of... I'm talking to a guy who loves a spectrum here, The point is, something that doesn't do a huge amount doesn't mean it's limited. It's part of its wonderment. So, no. I say the whole point of Ceefax was it did what it said on the galactic cyber tin perfectly, and that's where everything's gone wrong, because you humans got greedy. You wanted more. You didn't just want a news service that told you what it was and, had the odd viewer comment, but, pretty well filtered. No. You needed to have social interaction, social media, everything being instant, everyone getting their say. What a load of bollocks. It's all gone wrong. So I don't say it was limited at all. It did exactly what it was supposed to do, and it actually did it properly.
You brought that across as one of your manifesto pledges, and it's it's a very serious and worthwhile one, along with free broadband for people. And in your election, in your mayoral election, you had 21 pledges in there. Would you think that the Ceefax one would be the most deliverable out of all the 21 pledges?
Well, look, I don't want to sound too much like a politician, but I only make pledges I can deliver on, and you should know that damn well. Every single one of my promises on my manifesto, both the mayoral one and my general election ones, and across the omniverse, I stand by. Now, that might be bringing back Ceefax, which means switching off standby, obviously. Or it might mean giving £1 trillion a week to the NHS. They're all very, very doable under a Binface administration. But of course, there's only one way to find out, which is to vote me in. But as if you want to talk mayoral election stuff, I have to say that, much as I believe my Ceefax pledge is as great as anything I've ever proposed on your planet, there was a lot of love out there for price capping croissants at £1, even though it's brilliant, about just how popular that one was. So Ceefax now has competition amongst my great pledges, and rightly so.
No, absolutely. If anything, it causes great debate. I mean, I've noticed that Jess Phillips even picked up, Jess Phillips being a politician for the Labour Party, picked up on your Ceefax as a touchstone, and you're becoming a bit of a zeitgeist. I think the people who would class themselves as more mainstream than yourself, Your Excellency, would be trying to tack themselves on and append to your manifesto. So I'd watch out for that if I were you, sir.
No, I love it. I'm a big fan of Jess Phillips. We have corresponded over the interweb, and she says that people have even brought up Ceefax to her on the doorstep in Birmingham Yardley. And I love it. I've got no problem with other politicians, liaising and interacting with my manifesto pledges. I mean, I'm a consensus politician, right? I mean, I might look like a totally insane 8-foot-tall intergalactic space warrior with a Ceefax fixation, but no, I am the sensible one. And to get things done, you got to work with other parties. You got to reach across the cyber aisle. So, I say to Jess, I say to Caroline Lucas, I say to all of those MPs who do have a brain, come and talk to old Binny, because, I'm prepared to form an aggressive alliance, to bring down those Tories. So if they want to talk, they know where to find me.
Yeah, the coalition of the knowing, maybe. Yeah, so
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So you've stood in some by-elections. You've stood against Teressa May. You've stood against Boris Johnson, and in the mayoral elections, you stood against Sadiq Khan. Who would you say was the most chivalrous opponent that you met in those in those elections?
That's an excellent question. Well, so I've done 4 elections on your planet so far, 2 general elections, 1 mayoral, and then a by-election. And they've all had their own characteristics. I would say, well, you're not going to like me for this, but, Mrs. May in 2017 I would say she was polite, but a little bit petrified of old Binface. She was certainly polite. I give her that, and a lot of decorum. Mrs. May doesn't get enough credit for that. And Mr. Khan in 2021, he stood in a separate room to all the other candidates. So he didn't want to be seen with the intergalactic hoi polloi. So much as I do have time for him, but that was a little black mark against him, I have to say. There's an exclusive for you. So actually, when it comes to the leaders, the most chat I had was with the blonde bombshell himself, Boris Johnson. He was very, very polite to me, giving me exactly the same full respect that he gives the rest of you. And, maybe it's because I spoke to him in the only language that I thought he would understand, which, of course, is classical Latin. So I boned up and spoke to him in that, and we had a little conversation. It was very nice. And for all his faults, and we haven't got time to go through those, I think you know what I'm talking about. But he was very nice to me on the day, so I do give him credit for that.
Did he share any tips? Did he take any advice from you?
I told him that the die was cast in Latin. I quoted Julius Caesar, and he took that on board. And I even told him about my copyright. But on the planet copyright, I had a terrible battle with an Earthling, and I told him about that. So believe it or not, I had a chinwag with a member of the UN Security Council about how an unfortunate, in my opinion, American film producer tried to stop all my fun. But luckily, he didn't succeed, and here we are today.
Absolutely, yes. Because you stood against somebody that purported to be a former incarnation of your own self.
Exactly. The world of novelty politics is a very dirty business, and it's a good thing I'm shaped like a bin, because I'm here to take out the trash. And yes, it was all very odd, but I found myself pretty much in 2019. Not only taking on Boris Johnson, but taking on myself, because someone had decided to try and take advantage of my success in 2017. It was all very, very peculiar. But any publishers listening, I am prepared to go on the record and explain exactly what happened and all the juicy details. So, you know where to find me.
Yeah. So what next for old what next for old Binface then? When I say old, I've looked on the internet. You do say, well, at the time you were 5,965 years old. How is that? Is that Earth years?
That is Sigma 9 years, and I can't be bothered to work out the conversion rate. And that was back in 2017. Yeah. So I'll leave that to your listeners to sort out. But let's just say, I've been around the galactic block a few times. Absolutely. But I think that I see age as a virtue in that sense, unless of course you are from planet Earth and aged 80. In which case, I think you shouldn't have the chance to vote because, what happens next isn't really doesn't really concern you.
Well, that's certainly food for thought. So what next for Your Excellency? We could be having an election as soon as 2024, 2025 at the absolute outside, but nobody really wants that. So, do you have any plans to stand anywhere at all?
Well, again, I got to pick you up on the detail there, Carl, because you say 2024. We're recording this in Earth year 2023. End of so-called October. There's nothing to say he couldn't call one tomorrow. And
Very true.
Of course, he should. The little coward. And I use the word little advisedly. My goodness me. Now, of course he won't. But he could call one tomorrow. He could allow a Binface administration to take over before the end of November 2023. And I put that on the record. That would be the best possible solution to Britain finally sorting out the mess that has occurred since the last 10 years or so. So, it doesn't have to be 2024, but you're right, it probably will be, or even January 2025. Because as we all know, Mr. Sunak and the Tories are complete utter chickens.
So you could be looking at 1 bin under Binface or 7 bins under Sunak.
Well, I say there's 1 bin to rule them all, and that's me. So, I don't care how many bins he wants to talk about. And notice that he has started bringing bins into his speeches. Is that a coincidence? I think not. I think not, Carl.
It's a Freudian slip at best. That's what it is.
Yeah. I'm keeping my space powder dry, but let's just say, I'd be quite excited to meet old Rishi on the Yorkshire hustings.
Absolutely. So it could be 1997 all over again, i.e. we've still got Ceefax and there'll be some Michael Portillo moments in the general election. Do you actually see, who do you see as the next Michael Portillo moment in the election? What sort of big guns are we looking at possibly dispensing with the next time the public are asked their opinion?
Well, I mean, of course, to be compared to the Portillo moment is the worst thing for any politician in pretty much any galaxy. I can tell you that. We all know about that. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. There are plenty of recyclons who've retired from politics because they didn't want to look like Michael Portillo. And I can't blame them. But as for your Tories, well, look at them, because they're all giving up, aren't they? They're all retiring and giving up their seat because they're so scared of being made to look like a complete imbecile in the landslide that's coming. Fascinating, because, of course, the Tories are known for liking a bit of cash. And if you do hang on and get beaten, you get a lovely little parachute payments. Did you know that? You lose that if you resign. That just goes to show just how much they don't want to be a Portillo. Like Jeremy Hunt. You've seen the rumours about him. Yeah.
No, it's true. It's true. It's a rumour, Your Excellency.
Yeah, at this stage, at the time of recording. But let's just see what happens. A little space bird has told me that he doesn't fancy his chances. And I think you'll see more of them. So your question is, which ones will be left to face a Portillo moment? Hopefully, none of the bastards.
So it's they're sacrificing their potential payoff to avoid ignominy.
Exactly, and of course they're all scared of me. Yes, because I could take down any of them.
Can you stand in more seat at one time, or do you need more people to perhaps act on your behalf?
Well, that all depends whether you mean legally or not. I mean, I noticed that in the by-elections in 2023, one human gentleman did stand in 2 by-elections at once. So that's curious, but they were on different dates. I'm not sure whether on a general election night you can roll that out and stand in 650 constituencies. I'd be very happy to do so. I mean, A, it would spread me a little bit thinly, and B, it would cost me a little bit of cash, which I have to say, and here we go, listeners, I do not have. So anyone out there from your gazillions of listeners who wants to drop old Binny a little bit of a little benefaction, and I'm not doing this as a big plug, but a trio of correctly priced croissants, £3, never goes amiss, and I do raise money for charity. So if you want to help me out, give me a hand, because it does cost a bit. But basically, I'm a one-man band. I am a political party. I'm an official party, but I don't have other members, because if you have other members, then of course, as the Labour Party is proving, things can go wrong. So best to just have it as me, and so I'm a solo man, solo operator, I should say. But it's all to play for, and like I say, if I get a whiff that there's a sort of Neil Hamilton-like moment happening somewhere in the country, and I could take him down in a kind of votey McVoteface moment, I'll be there quicker than you can say Michael Gove. Beep. Sorry, I had to censor myself there.
No, absolutely. So, where do we find you on the internet so we can find out more about you, or in fact, donate some money towards the cause? Because I've been on your webpage, and indeed you've been helping out with on the mayoral side, any additional funds that you raised past what was necessary to stand. You donated to homeless charities in London.
Oh no, it's my great pleasure, and I'm still doing that. In fact, if you basically anyone is interested, go to countbinface.com, and there's lots of fun stuff there, lots of videos and gags and manifestos. There's also how you can get involved. I've got a brand new merch shop set up with a wonderful gentleman in the constituency of Uxbridge and South Ruislip, and he's made all kinds of Binface goodies. And if you buy anything from there, 50% of my profits goes to a shelter to help the homeless. And so this year I've raised £500 for them, and I also have someone on Earth making little Warhammer-style models of me, which is very nice. The tiny little Binface, and you can paint him. And I'm stepping on the decapitated head of Lord Buckethead, the bucket fake, which is a lovely touch. You can buy those. They cost £5. I don't get any of the money, but that's fine, because £3 out of the 5 goes to NHS supporting charities. And I'm led to believe that we've raised over £2,000 in that area as well. So there's been lots of good fundraising. And if you want, you can also donate to me on Ko-fi.com, and or you can get me to do a cameo. Any of those bits and bobs, I'm there for. Oh, indeed, buy my lovely book. But they're all there. But I don't. I know times are tough. So no worries if you just want to enjoy my content free, but if you've got a penny, stick it in my bin lid.
Absolutely. And you still got your book as well?
Absolutely, yes, that's doing well. And I'm currently just about to pick up my cyber pen to consider book 2, which is quite exciting. So because there's so much has happened since my last book came out. I mean, you've had about 25 prime ministers since last October, haven't you? So
it's been at least 60 days, isn't it? Yeah.
Every month, or I call every month a truss, because that's how fast I go.
That's it. Yes, yeah. There's you could actually what is it? It's a truss or 7 lettuces. That's how long it's taken so long. So it's that's certainly been an interesting time being on Earth in this political time. Growing up, watching every general election, since 1987. Personally, Your Excellency, it's I've never known a time like it. It's amazing, and it's just been so amazing to have your presence as well on the planet during this time as well, because it's you know, from my point of view, I think it's sort of like focused minds and made the debate, you know, it's made the debate a lot more interesting and acute because, as you've argued yourself, you've got more of a mandate from the electorate of London than some of the standing prime ministers that we've had.
Well, quite exactly. You know, well, look, let's we can say both on the glib level, you know, I'm obviously the only fresh thing on the menu, and anyone would be mad not to vote for me. But also, you know, you're right. We live in very, very strange times. Democracy is under great threat. I think it's very, very important that the United Kingdom, which has a huge and wonderful tradition of comedic candidates, should demonstrate that in the 21st century it is still possible, and indeed more important than ever, to show that light-sided, humorous aspect to not just politics, but our own humanity. Because I think we all need a laugh. And if I can help at all with that, as well as maybe shine a light on how awful the humans are, well then, you know, I feel very happy to do that. So it's you know, it's all part of the service for old Binface, and you know, I just ask all humans to come with me for the ride in 2024, which should be the biggest year of democratic politics that any of us are going to see.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Your Excellency, for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And, you know, you never know, I might be interviewing you one day on Times Radio, but I doubt it somehow. But
no,
thank you.
Well, look, you know, you keep yourself pure. You don't need to take the murder or pound.
No.
So, you know, you keep going with your independent podcast. And, you know, and I'll raise it to the skies. You tweet it out, and I'll post it and all that stuff. And I do call it Twitter still. Sorry, Elon, but you know what I mean. And you know, all the very best. An excellent interview, Carl. And you keep up that Ceefax enthusiasm. Because,
well, thank you.
You're on the right side of history. Trust me.
No, thank you very much, Your Excellency, and all the best. And I shall be following your endeavours closely. But thanks, mate. Brilliant. I appreciate
Galactic best wishes to you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
All the best. Ta-ra.
Hail Binface.
Hail Binface.
Thanks again to the kindness and generosity of Count Binface for allowing us the time to speak for the podcast. It was an absolute pleasure to have him, and wish him all the best for the future. You can visit his website at countbinface.com, where you can look at his merchandise, his books, and also some links there to follow any charitable causes that he's set up that he's going to try and help out on the side as well. Housekeeping time. I really do enjoy making these podcasts, and I hope you enjoy listening to them as much as I do making them. You can support the podcast in the normal way by liking or sharing or just telling somebody else about it. If you feel that way inclined, you can also buy me a coffee at ko-fi.com/bitehigh. Any amount, no matter how small, does go towards offsetting the costs of hosting the podcast. Contributions that have been given so far have been greatly appreciated, and that's a big thank you out to everybody who has done that already. You know who you are. If you have any ideas for the show, or you want to contact me in any way at all, you can get me at TeddyTextR on X Twitter, or you can find me on bluesky at bitehighnowlimit.bsky, and you can also find me on the Discord as well, where there'll be a link to the Discord in the notes somewhere. Thanks very much for listening. Bite High No Limit was produced by me, Carlos, and is a Bite High No Limit production. And until next time, keep it blocky.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.